Pro Tips! Everyone, welcome to another edition of Pro Tips. Today we're going to be discussing how to read a green coffee if you don't have a moisture meter or a density meter. Alright, so over here we have 4 different coffees. On the left we have a natural processed Ethiopian heirloom. Second from the left we have a natural processed Ethiopia Geisha Village. And the third from the left, we have a fully washed Honduras liquid amber. And on the far right, we have a fully washed Tanzania Mimba AA. So, can you guess which of the 4 is the most dense or the least dense? Let's take a closer look at the 4 coffees. Alright, let's start with the Ethiopia Aricha Natural. You can see with these coffees, the center cut, which is the center part of the coffee, the line in the middle, they're pretty tight together. They're pretty close. The gap isn't very big, and you can see just a little bit of the silver skin peeking out of the coffee. So generally, we expect a dense coffee to have a tighter center cut, so a smaller gap that would point to a higher density coffee. Next, we have the Ethiopia Geisha Village. And you can see from here, the gaps are almost pretty much the same as the Ethiopia Natural. There are a few beans which are quite tight and a few beans that are slightly bigger, and you can see the silver skin peeking out as well. So I would say they are probably fairly close, if not the Geisha is just a slight bit less dense. And now we have the Honduras coffee. Now in this coffee we can see a lot of the silver skin peeking out all the center cuts. The center cuts have a bigger gap in between them. They're a bit more loose and not as tightly connected. So I would say it is probably less dense than the Geisha Village. And last but not least, here we have the Tanzania Mimba AA. So with these coffees, it's quite apparent that the gaps are very far apart. All the silver skin is easily noticeable and peeking out. The gaps are very wide and it's not deep, so you can definitely tell that this is probably going to be the least dense coffee out of all. So let's take a look at the results. Which is the least dense coffee? Can you take a guess? That's right. It is the Tanzania Mimba AA. And the most dense coffee is the Ethiopia Aricha Natural. So now you understand it's very simple to read the green coffee. The center cut provides a big indication as to how dense the coffee is. The deeper and tighter closed the gap is on the center cut, the more dense the coffee, and the more shallow, the wider the gap on the center cut, the less dense the bean probably is. There will be more silver skin peeking out of the center cut. That points to a lower density coffee. Okay, that's it for this week's Pro Tips. If you enjoyed the video, please click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to check out our new Ultimate Coffee Roasting course. All the links are in the description below. We'll see you next week.